What's up, fellas? So I had the biggest scare the other day when my tank sprung a leak, and it was entirely my fault. I was just being a little careless, and well, let me just show you what happened. So here we are underneath the tank. This bulkhead connects to that standpipe going straight through the middle of my tank. And I don't know if I ever showed this before, but this used to be just capped off, as well as capped off over here. And that's just connected to my main drain. And I recently connected it all together so the standpipe could actually drain somewhere. And well, let me just back up and explain why I did this. So if you saw any of my videos from before I escaped the tank, you saw that I had a standpipe coming up through the center of the tank here. You can still kind of see the pipe through there a little bit. This was a stupid thing I did when I first assembled my tank, not really knowing what the hell I was doing. Anyways, after I learned better, I just decided to roll with it. I decided I'd use it as like a backup drain. So I covered it in rock work so you can't see it, and it looks pretty good, it's well hidden. But like I said, underneath it was just capped off, so it wasn't draining anywhere, and there wasn't really any water other than a few splashes here and there getting down that drain. And I just had it capped off because I was gonna work on upgrading my sump in the future, and I was gonna have part of it drain from that standpipe. But then I decided to just go ahead and connect it to the main plumbing drain. And the reason I decided to do that was because of this rock work. Now if you remember, I had both of my PP8 wave makers on this side of the tank. I have this one here still, and I used to have the other one on this side. And the problem I ran into with this is they were both blowing this way, which created some pretty good turbulence and some good flow throughout the tank. But up on the surface here, it was just kind of doing this like this whirlpool up here, and there was a lot of stuff kind of collecting up there, never going anywhere. So I added this power head on this end, and that was helping push some of this stuff out, but it was also pushing stuff up over that standpipe. So that's when I decided I needed to connect it to the main drain. Once I slipped this elbow into the bulkhead, water started dripping down at an alarming rate. Now this scared the crap out of me. I didn't know what I was gonna do or what I did. So here's what I think happened. When I installed the bulkhead originally, I didn't have a wrench big enough to tighten it, so I just got a hand tight. But I mean, I really cranked that thing on there. It was pretty tight. And even when I did the water test, there was no leaks or anything, so I figured it was good. And I haven't had any leaks up until now. But when I pushed that elbow up into place, I'm thinking that bulkhead probably wasn't quite tight enough, and it actually pushed it up off the surface of the glass and broke that seal just a little bit. And so it started dripping, and I have since gotten a wrench that's big enough, well, almost big enough for that. It was actually made for the size of, what is that, my H2 overflow. And that's only, I think, 1.5 inches, and this standpipe is 2 inches. So the wrench I have is just a little bit small, but I managed with a lot of effort to get it on there and crank it a little bit tighter, and I managed to stop the leak, which was a real relief because I had no idea what I was gonna do with my fish if my tank had a leak in it. And I also didn't want to have to tear it down and redo it. So once the PVC cement was all cured, I was able to turn this power head back on, and some of it got pushed down over the overflow there, and it just stirred it up a lot better, so I wasn't getting just a collection of stuff at the surface of the water. However, I still was getting a little bit of a whirlpool in this corner because this power head was at the other end pushing this way. And so I thought, well, maybe if I moved it to this side, and it seems like it's done a lot better. Another thing is this corner of the tank was getting exposed to the glass because this wave maker right here, when it was over at this end, it was just pushing the water across the tank, and it would come down and just sweep up all this sand, and it would clear a big bald spot. I had to put the sand back like every 2 or 3 days. It was getting really annoying. But now, between these two being over here, there's nothing collecting back here. There's a lot more circulation and better agitation, and there's no more sand getting blown around. But when I first put these power heads here, they blew a ton of detritus off of these rocks. there must have been a lot of stuff that collected it back there, because I mean, this tank was crazy clouded with detritus and food and just lots of crap from everything, which meant that my filter sock is now filthy. This is after just 2 days of filtering since I turned those on. It's gotten pretty disgusting. I've never seen it fill up this quickly, so yeah, I was too busy to do it yesterday, but I gotta get it done today because it's pretty disgusting. And also the skimmer. I mean, look at all this crap that's coming up. I've never had it this dirty or this much of it. Usually I only have to clean my skimmer cup once a week. I usually do this every Saturday. And I mean, there's usually about this much water, but it's not quite this dirty. And there's definitely not nearly this much crap up in here. The bubbles are usually pretty clean looking that are coming over the top. So it's been pulling a lot of junk out from everything I stirred up. So that was my most recent adventure with the fish tank. For you boys and girls out there that are thinking of doing a fish tank of any kind, and you're gonna have bulkheads, make sure you get them tight, hand tighten them, get a properly sized wrench, and tighten them like another quarter of a turn. Don't over tighten them or you can crack your glass. Also, don't put a standpipe up the center of your tank. This is a horrible idea and something that I am regretting. Although I have been tinkering with the idea of taking that pipe and just chopping it, capping it off, tearing down some of the rocks so it's not all the way to the surface. The problem with that is then I just have the single overflow, and if for some reason that gets clogged, I don't have anywhere for my water to go except for over the side and onto the floor. So everything's looking really good now. Tank's still a little dirty, but I got another cleanup crew that I ordered from reefcleaners.org. That'll be on its way. I'll probably get it in about 5 or 6 days. And that one's gonna have some hermit crabs in it, so I'm really excited for that. Other than that, I just need to, I actually got the hinges to put the cabinet doors on. So that'll be cool. It'll look a lot more complete with those doors on. Got to move this cord out of the way. I just had it there to test out if this flow pattern would work. So anyways, if you have any questions or comments, put those down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.